And we're dealing with folks that want to bring us to our knees and bring Western civilization to our knees, and we have to be stronger and tougher and more united than they are, the way Americans have been all throughout our history. The second thing I think of has to do with our economy. It underlies everything else. To make a long story short, we are in the process of gradually bankrupting future generations in this country. I'm not the first one to say this. I may be the first politician who wants to talk about it, because everybody asks, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And people are afraid of it. But it's an absolute fact. You look at the government reports, the General Accountability Office put out another one earlier this year. The Treasury Department has sent up warning signals with regard to Medicare and what's happening and so forth. We are clearly, and everybody in Washington knows this, going to be facing, with the retirement of the baby boomers just right around the corner, and the rising medical costs, we're going to be facing a sea of red ink and government deficits and government debts is going to ruin this economy, and not only jeopardize our entitlement programs, but it's going to jeopardize the future of the next generation. The third thing, when we look to Washington, these are Washington problems. Now, I'm a Federalist. I believe that the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, and all of the amendments, including the Second Amendment, including the 10th Amendment, are just as applicable today as that they've ever been. But there are certain things that are responsibility of the federal government. When I look to Washington, I see a Congress that's more bitterly divided, more acrimonious, more prone to fight over everything large and small, that has all their energy directed inward toward each other and toward the White House, and totally out of touch with the American people. I think, if nothing else proves it, the immigration bill and the fact that they were surprised at the reaction they got proved it more than anything else. And speaking of that, when you look at governmental functions, we see for the first time in our history this clearly, that the government can't any longer do some basic things that the government is supposed to do. We're seeing problems. Everybody knows about problems with Katrina, and everybody knows about procurement issues with regard to Iraq and all of that. Tip of the iceberg, my friends. We've got a bunch of folks that are in over their head in some key positions. We've got computers that won't talk to each other. We've got departments that can't pass an audit. And all of this now is coming home to roost and affecting our national security. Now, as you might guess, if you know anything about my record, my answer to these things is not big government solutions and more bureaucracy and higher taxes. It's just the opposite. We need to get back to first principles. The declaration that I mentioned, the fact that our main laws come from God and not from any kind of government. Our Constitution, which has got the separation of powers and checks and balances and federalist system of government, for one reason mainly, and that is to ensure the freedom of the American people. We need to treasure that, remember that, rely upon that, and the underlying institutions, such as respect for private property, respect for market economy, along with individual rights, respect for the value of free and fair competition, and not only among our people, but with other nations in the world. Those are the kinds of things that we're talking about. I am unabashedly pro-life. I am pro-Second Amendment. And I don't apologize for the United States of America. This country has shed more blood for the freedom of other people than all the other nations in the history of the world combined, and I'm tired of people feeling like they've got to apologize for that. So, if things play out the way I've got in mind, we'll be seeing a lot more of each other. I don't know whether that makes you happy or not, but it sure makes me happy, and I'm looking forward to it. Keep your powder dry. I think we can do something good for America. Thank you very much.